President Biden spoke about the possibility of him being killed way back in 2021. Let's take a listen to that.
What did you say would happen if opposition leader Alexei Navalny dies?
I made it clear to him that I believe the consequences of that would be devastating for Russia.
So let's bring in Tracy Walder. She's NewsNation's national security contributor and former CIA officer. Welcome back, Tracy.
Thank you for having me, Hena.
So the president, other world leaders, all very, very openly pointing their finger at Putin for Navalny's death. But why would he do this? What does Putin have to gain now? Is it the election next month? What is it?
You know, in all honesty, I don't think it's necessarily the election next month. I say he has that pretty wrapped up. He's really eliminated all of his opposition, quite frankly, and there's no doubt that he will win by, you know, an orchestrated landslide, if you will. I think part of why he did this is because he senses a weakness, if you will, in the West or in the United States. First of all, we have growing partisanship here, which is really precluding this Ukraine aid bill from passing through Congress. You have Representative Turner, who basically blew up, quite frankly, an operation, you know, by the CIA and tried to leak classified information about what Russia's space capabilities were. And then you have Tucker Carlson, who really gave him a platform, if you will, and somewhat legitimized him in the West. And Putin is first and foremost a spy, and he is seizing on that psychological advantage that he now has. And I think that is why he did away with Navalny, in essence.
So you think Putin is emboldened with everything you just mentioned, not to forget what Trump said just a few days ago about NATO? Do you think all of this has emboldened Putin?
I think all of this has emboldened Putin, and he hasn't been emboldened, quite frankly, for a while.
Yeah.
The reality is he didn't do as well initially in Ukraine as, quite frankly, the CIA thought, to be honest with you. And so he hasn't felt emboldened for a while. And in the past few weeks, month or so, I believe that he has felt more and more emboldened.
I do want to talk about the penal colony that Navalny was in Siberia. It's called one of the harshest prisons in the world. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so this penal colony is the harshest prison in the world, and it is the harshest prison in Russia. It's mostly reserved for serial killers, mass murderers, those kinds of things. Typically, political dissidents actually don't go to this prison. Obviously, in my opinion, he was put here on purpose. One of the things is to create distance, if you will. You have to remember this is up in the Arctic Circle, which is what I found so interesting about some of the headlines about his death, that he had gone out for a walk. No one's going out for a walk in the Arctic Circle. That's just not happening. And it creates distance. It would take, his journey to get there took several days and was very, very grueling for him. So what this is doing is essentially cutting off all contact with any kind of political ally and his family that he could have. It's completely isolating him.
Tracy, before I let you go, if Russia is found responsible here, is there any fallout? Could Putin be held accountable in any way?
In short, no. I mean, yes, Biden did state that there would be significant consequences for this, but he also did state yesterday that Russia has suffered those consequences in terms of losses in the war to Ukraine. So I don't think that the U.S. is going to do anything additional to Russia and to Putin than we haven't already done in terms of sanctions and those kinds of things. So I don't think there will be a fallout for this.
Tracy Walder, thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.